it's 10 o'clock. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. If you please all stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, good morning. It is December 19th. This is the Broadwater County Commissioners' General Business Meeting. Before we get started, we do follow Robert's Rules of Order, an open meeting process, and a civility policy. We have a fiduciary and fiscal responsibility to conduct all Broadwater County business as efficiently as possible for all Broadwater County residents. Our meetings are recorded. They are on YouTube, so please state your full name prior to any public comment for the record. Separate conversations need to be removed from the meeting and conducted outside. Outbursts will not be tolerated. Public comment will give each citizen who wishes to speak an initial 3 minutes to do so, and all comments should be directed to the board chair. With that, we will go ahead and start our meeting as we usually do with public comment. Is there any public comment? All right, seeing none. Montana Minute. Franklin, you have a Montana Minute for us?
Oh, everybody got through the little storm okay. One day of cold weather there, kind of reminder what can be.
All right, my Montana Minute is to give a big shout out to the cross-country coach of the year, our own Brooke Dolan. So that's quite an honor, and I think she's done a magnificent job with those kids. Anyone else have a Montana Minute they want to share? All right, seeing none. Commissioners' Community Update. Franklin, what'd you do this week?
Came in for the Wednesday meeting and no one was around, and I went to the Thursday LEPC meeting.
All right. I also came in for the Wednesday meeting, and there was no one here. So we did actually meet with Kevin Howell, who was on the agenda for 10:15 last Wednesday. I sent an email with his presentation on video, and we actually are going to add him to the agenda today. We just had to postpone it since nobody was here, and we'll go ahead and address that at 10:30. He is with Verizon Wireless and wants to put up an antenna on the water tower. Because that's on county property, they do need county permission to do so. He has talked with the city and they are on board. So with that, we do not have minutes at this point. So because our agendas state these items, issues, and times are subject to change, I'm going to move COS review up. If you'd like to go ahead and come on forward, Bernadette. Good morning.
Good morning, Bernadette Swenson from Schauber Survey. I have a couple surveys for you today. This is a boundary relocation for Linda White. She's doing a boundary relocation. Her son is going to build out there.
Nice.
So she had a parcel, this parcel up north, and then this, so she put this all together and put this parcel here because he's building back here.
Where's your house at now?
It's
Where's the-
further down south. This is Jack Farm Road here.
Oh, okay, so where's that in?
Yeah.
And this has gone through the steps.
Yes. Yes, it's over 20, so it doesn't go to DBQ, but Julie has looked at it. And then it's been through the examining land surveyor also.
All right. Looks good to me. Any questions, Franklin?
No, I'll make a motion, we set the boundary change for Linda White.
And point of order, it's just a friendly amendment to support the boundary relocation. Are you good with that?
Fine with me.
All right, I'll second the motion. It's been moved and seconded to support the boundary relocation for Mrs. White. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye, motion carries.
Thank you. Oh, and I'll have to run the papers back up. I forgot
That's
them
fine.
downstairs. This is actually a survey for my husband and myself also.
All right.
We're
This will pass
creating,
or not.
huh? We're creating a family transfer on our property. Our daughter is gonna build out there.
Nice.
So we created 1.5 acres, and it's been through DEQ, because we got DEQ on both, because ours mistakenly, before we bought it, didn't go through the proper channels. So it was a good thing. We got ours up to snuff and legal, and the new one, so it's been through DEQ and the examining land surveyor and all.
Perfect. Any questions, Franklin?
You know, as long as you get everything met and taken care of, I move to accept the boundary, just, what is it, not boundary? location?
Family transfer.
Family transfer.
All right, I'll second the motion. It's been moved and seconded to support the family transfer for Swenson's. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye, motion carries.
Well, thank you.
There you go.
I will run downstairs and sneak up with those.
That'd be just fine.
I think you got everything in the room over there now, you would get turned down.
I know. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bernadette. All right, we have a couple of minutes. I told Kevin we'd get him on the phone at 10:30. So we have a few minutes.
And I'll be right back.
Okay, thanks. Mail, we have a couple of bills, Northwest Energy and Northwest Energy for you. We also have, this is the meter readings and just a memo. And that's what makes up the bills. We have the Helena Lewis and Clark National Forest Timber Sale announcement. This is advertised in the IR December 13th. And they will be receiving bids at their Skyline Drive location. If anybody wants details, that is a matter of public record, and you're more than welcome to those. We have a letter from the Montana Department of Labor and Industry. This is concerning the election certification for the road department, concerning their entry into the Teamsters Union Local Number 2. Dear Chairman Ober, the results of the election conducted by the Board of Personnel Appeals on December 2, 2016 to determine the representative for collective bargaining purposes for certain employees of the Broadwater County Road Department are as follows. 5 eligible voters, 4 valid votes cast, 4 for Teamsters Local Union Number 2. So I did send a copy of that to both Dana and Corey, the county attorney, for them to review and give direction. We have also, these were left over from last week. Nicole brought these up for signature. We already voted, but you had already left the courthouse. So if you could just give those a signature, I will put them in Nicole's mailbox as soon as they're signed. One thing too, for Commissioners' Community Update, I did attend the Airport Board meeting and the League Board meeting last week. And Airport Board, they are working on hiring their engineer. They have an engineer that works with them, and they just have to re-up that application and that bid process. And then the League Board, I just had a series of questions, so I attended to answer those for them. So just to add that to the minutes. But don't worry about anything on that. All Are you done with those?
Mhm.
All right, payroll. We have payroll in the amount of $174,864.30.
And the payroll amount stated.
I'll second the motion. It's been moved and seconded to pay payroll in the amount of $174,864.30. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye, motion carries. Okay, we have a bid from Burdick's Locksmith Services, and we do not have keys for the WIC building. We did not get keys after the previous nurses left. So Mike would like to rekey that building since there are medical reports and prescriptions, immunizations in there. It is important that we secure that building. The total is, looks like $559.16, and then also, no, excuse me, $751.60. And then there's some ancillary costs, $25 for a rekey, exit device, deadbolts, and then a simplex lock. And then also, there's a couple of doors here in the courthouse that there's one key for. And Mike would like to know if we would be willing to rekey those as well, so that he doesn't have to have a single key for each of those. And we can get a second key that he can have, and that's an additional $85, or excuse me, $9.50 to redo the whole courthouse. So, there's that. He would like the commission's
What effort was made to
blessing.
get those keys back from the previous employees?
Right? You're the one who spoke to him during the exit interview, so did,
Exit interview, I don't know what you're talking about.
so that was kind of your responsibility.
If I, could I say something?
Go ahead.
Sure.
I have previous locksmithing that I've done, and keys are, it doesn't matter if you return them or not. It should always be repinned at least every time that there's a transfer of ownership of any sort. It doesn't matter, because that key can be copied, so that the loss of the chain of control of that key is easily lost at that point as soon as you give it to an employee. So it really doesn't matter if you get it back or not. It's that they could have copied it, it could be copied, See what I'm saying?
Some keys that they
easily copied.
cannot be copied? I'm not sure on that. It seems to me like there's some that can't be, maybe these ones.
Most keys can be copied. And so when you do like a change of ownership and you do a change of like what has specifically what's happened with this incident, really it would be in, I think, best interest to have everything at the very least rekeyed and not worry about the chain of control of whether who has what key. Because when was the last time a chain of control was done on those keys? Does anybody know that?
Yeah.
So no pointing fingers at the nurses.
All right, Bernadette, come on forward. Right, and Diane, if you would sign right there. Either one.
Well, on deadbolts, I think they just changed the cylinders in them. Mike, you probably know more about it than I do, or do you guys?
You can, it depends, like you was mentioning some, I don't know what the specifics of the locks were, but, you know, if you're gonna have like security lock changes and whatnot like that, like and put bumper doors in or different, that would be, you would need, a higher cost for that, and, I don't know what the set is. If you're talking about a common doorknob, yeah, there's a cylinder in it. But if you're talking about an entire mechanism, there, that's a lot of times a slave to one key set. You can't just replace a cylinder in a lot of those, especially security doors and things that are related to, files, that it would be at the, I think, if there's even a question of having someone at least check the security and whether the door can be kicked and whatnot.
Just seems pretty high to me.
It sounds,
Over $1,900 to
It sounds high.
But
Sounds high, but I don't know what the security
if any
supply
other-
specifics
try
are.
for any other bids or not, I don't know.
If you're putting in an entire security door with security mechanisms in it, yeah, it could be pretty high, because, you know, it can come pre-framed with it all established. I don't know what the extent of what they're doing is, so, you know, unless you were looking at their specific, what they were going to install and the items, and then say, you know, cross and saying, okay, that's this and this, I don't know how you would be able to tell what that cost is.
I can't imagine changing any doors. I don't know, I think we'll have to try to get another bid on this.
So you're suggesting we postpone it?
I would think so.
All
And
right,
it just
you
seems
pass
awful
that
high
back,
to
I'll
me.
put it back in the mail.
How many,
Well, here, Mike, you take a look.
Laura, do you know how many locks there are?
The WIC building has 3 exterior doors. How many doors do you guys have that are locked
Here,
inside any? Maybe the WIC office, storage room. Yeah, a few there, and then the ones in the courthouse that are specific, I don't know. So we could certainly have Mike come and give those specifics. Burdick's is the ones I believe that did the next door.
They look like they're high, but the thing is, until you can look at this system, it looks to me like these things are set up on some kind of a timing systems or something, so I'm not sure if they wouldn't be this high.
And again, when you're talking HIPAA, drugs, immunizations, I'm thinking locks are important.
Yeah,
and
they're
it's not
probably,
just
they're
your
probably
over-the-shelf.
more than just your regular residential.
Well, but if you're talking about that point, and you're stating kind of, you know, acronyms at that point, then there's probably a standardization that's done per their
Well,
standard, so I mean, you know, it wouldn't hurt to look and say, okay, what if pharmaceuticals in cities, what, is there a requirement as per, to have those pharmaceuticals locked up? Is there a requirement per these, you know, that we don't know about, that says that, you know, we have to have these, and that's what he's stating here? You know, we don't know. I mean, if he's plugged in with modern, you know, lock installation and whatnot, and he knows that this is the standard by which pharmaceuticals and files are locked up to, then that could be very well an easy cost at that,
Yeah, and I would
depending
say
on.
that that's probably what he's looking at.
And if he is doing a heavy install and it's pretty heavy duty, yeah, that's feasible for a security system. But if it's just like change your doorknobs and there's, you know, then no. But, so I think it just depends on.
Yeah, but I would think that situation down there, you're probably since you're looking at immunization and drugs like that, you're probably looking at a secure system. It's not just a residential doorknob.
Yeah, I think that's. Franklin, if you'd pass that back, I'll go ahead and write postponed on it and ask Mike to come and give us some more details. So we'll go ahead and postpone.
Well, he could possibly be installing that system and throughout the entire, everywhere, right? What it sounds like, so it's well worth looking and seeing what he's gonna do. Isn't that what you said? He was gonna install that same system and do doors as well, somewhere, courtroom? Yeah.
Yeah, some of the offices.
Right.
So we also have an email here from Mako and Doug that was sent to everyone, and this is regarding the SANS training. Did you do that last week? There's another one today and tomorrow, and all 3 of us should take it. I don't know if Nick can. I should also state for the minutes that Nick is excused today. He had a family emergency. But there is a training today at 2 and tomorrow at 9. So if you could go ahead and get on those, you want to pull up your email. I will send this across to you as a reminder of that, but that is required of us commissioners. And we also have, this was from Dennis Williams, and this is concerning the Avalanche Irrigation District. This is a fact sheet, and there was some errors that went out. So I'm not going to read the whole thing, but there are no barges. Barges were never considered. There will not be 90 wells. There will not be drilling under the lake. We will end up with 15 wells overall. We're in the process of testing and providing a hydraulic connection between the lake water and the alluvial deposits. Testing involves drilling and monitoring within 100 feet of potential production wells. Preliminary results show that under constant pumping, water levels in both the production and monitoring wells stabilize at the same elevation as the lake, and any changes will go through DNRC. So I'm just gonna put this in for the record, send it to you, Franklin, so that anybody who has any questions can contact WWC, Dennis Williams, or DNRC. We also have an email from Mia Whitfield. This is to the trust board, and she wants to give us an update on the BOR land transfer project. The transfer process was slowed due to the Government General Services Administration, GSA, legal department. They couldn't reconcile the deeds and or the acreage for the parcels. She did send copies of the deeds, the quitclaims, and ended up putting them in contact again with Dan Swenson of Shopper Surveying. So that will be moving ahead. That's good news. And then we finally have a letter, a support letter that we need to sign. And for clarification on what Brownfields is and what this project is, we have an email that was sent to us from Laura Erickson, who is the grant writer for Lewis and Clark County. Her title is the Community Development Coordinator. And again, I won't read the whole thing. Anyone can see the letter though. Lewis and Clark County has had 2 Brownfields assessment grants, 2006 and 2010. We were able to complete over 20 environmental assessments and move 4 properties through the cleanup phase. The majority of the properties that were assessed were found to contain little or no contamination and were able to be sold. Some properties did have contaminants that need to be removed, and the Carrot property was one high-profile case. Because of the Brownfields funding was available, we were able to complete assessments and cleanup planning that showed that the contamination was able to be remediated fairly easily. We were also able to help find a funding source to pay for the cleanup. We want to make the funding available to a wider area, which is why we considered adding Jefferson and Broadwater counties to the latest application. With any property in any jurisdiction, it is the private property owner that decides if they want to utilize the funding for assessment or not. By agreeing to be a coalition partner, Broadwater County property owners would be able to have access to the funding. There is no cost to Broadwater County to sign on to this. It merely gives property owners in Toston, Raidersburg, Wheatland, Winston, and Townsend the ability to access these Brownfields assessment grants. So if you would, we need a vote, we need that paperwork back. We also need a vote to go ahead and sign that support letter, if you are so inclined. This is the BOR land transfer. That's this would have helped pay for that. The creosote that they thought was out there, the lead, that kind of stuff. That's all under Brownfields, and so this would have been something we could have used for that.
So does that apply to private land also?
It is actually for private land, yes. We would have got to use it because it was contaminated Brownsfield property. But it is mostly private landowners that actually buy the property that's contaminated, usually old gas stations. And this is for them. They would access the funds, they would do all the work. We're just opening the door for them to access those funds.
So
That's all it is.
Is that work that has to be done in the future? And it doesn't apply to anything that's already been done?
Correct,
Okay.
yeah, so it would be for future projects.
Okay.
Now, if it's been discovered but they haven't done anything, I would think that they could access them.
Well, we did that thing down there at the Lutheran Church, and that had contamination in it that probably would have qualified for something. The DEQ.
It absolutely would have.
Not DEQ, what's the other, the petroleum boards ended up covering that.
Yeah.
So does this fund petroleum board also, or can petroleum board go through this process?
Petroleum Board would have their own coalition, for this.
Okay,
This one, any county can do it, Lewis and Clark is doing it and inviting us to be a part of that coalition. But yeah, this is done all over the state. So
Okay.
Petroleum Board, also I would bet some of your cities are doing it as a private entity, probably through an NGO. But this is for us.
I think it's
so
more
this
for
just
the
makes
larger
funding
ones.
available to people within the county that have such a problem
Exactly,
that they know of. Okay.
Yeah. yeah. Doesn't cost us anything, it just gives private landowners an opportunity if they have a need.
Okay.
So what say you, Franklin, on that? Would you?
I'd go along with it, it's just a
Oh, good.
bunch of bureaucracy really is what it amounts to.
Yeah, anytime you deal with that, that's what it is.
It is, that's
Right, good luck
absolutely.
getting away from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if the others are doing it, I guess some of them like this bureaucracy, so
Could you make a vote or make a motion?
I'll move that we go ahead with this. What is the title of it?
It's right on the letter, right in front of you.
And the Tri-County Coalition that would utilize assessment funding for brownfield assessment grants.
Right, I'll second the motion. If you throw all that back to me so I can put it in our pile. I will second the motion. It's been moved and seconded to sign the support letter for the Tri-County Coalition for brownfields funding. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye, motion carried. And I'll need your fish hook right there on the bottom, if you wouldn't mind. Thank you. Hey, before I call Kevin, do you want to go ahead and give verbal support for this, or do you want to hear his pencilation again?
I don't need Peter's presentation.
Okay. Are you good to go with that then?
As well, actually, it depends on the cities. It's their tower and everything's theirs. And I don't know what the original agreement was. If they just have an easement for that tower, you might know on that, Mike, if they have an easement or if they, or just what took place that time.
Mike, did you happen to see that presentation? I think I included you
No,
in the email.
no. So is he's already got permission from the city to put that up there?
Yeah,
So is the county tied in because the water tower sits on county property?
mhm.
That's,
I have maps, if you want to see one. That's exactly it. What he is looking for from the county, here's some more pictures too. The red square I'll tell you about in just a second. What he's looking about for us is just our support. He does need us included in the MOU because it is on Broadwater County property. But the payment for the ground lease for that red box, that's gonna be a building for all the mechanics. That'll go to the city, about $1,100 to $1,400 a month. We won't see any of that, that's on city property. But just the water tower, they just need our permission since it's on our property. It's really pretty simple. What it will do though is, the lines are pretty congested for cell phones. Having this new tower out here will actually decongestize the lines here in the city, which will actually free up lines for the county. So this is gonna benefit everybody, even though it's taking place here in the city. Doesn't cost us anything, they're just looking for our support.
Madam Chairwoman,
Just a second.
I don't see where you would have a problem with that. It's not.
no, I don't need, as long, it's up to the city, as long as the city's going for it,
Yeah, I would think so.
you know, I don't know, like I say, the county shouldn't even be involved at all, but,
It's on our property,
I
so it's
know it's on our
required.
property,
But it's required because of that, Franklin.
Luke, does it interfere with any other people's broadcasting rights? That's what I was gonna ask. You know that, so it's not giving him specific rights to broadcasting of a specific frequency, so that's not why he's including the county? Because that would umbrella that, it would give him an opportunity to have exclusive if there is no other tower that can go near that tower. So let's say like, okay, Verizon puts that in, but then whatever, you know, X other company wants to bring that in, is it compatible with his tower? Is that why, you know, does that contract with you give that exclusiveness to that?
I don't know.
So if you have any questions, Mike, I'd be happy to call Kevin Howell with Verizon. Otherwise, it seems to me that since he's done his homework with the city, that we could just offer our support.
Yeah, I would think so.
So Franklin, since you said don't call, are you so inclined to make a motion?
Well, yeah, I don't have any problem with it. It's up to the city, and as long as they're agreeing to it, if there's any problems or anything, that's up to them, not the
Can we get a
county.
motion to support this on behalf of the city?
I'll move that we support the city in letting Verizon put a tower, or antenna on the water tower.
Thank you very much. I will second the motion. It's been moved and seconded to support the city's decision regarding the Verizon wireless tower antenna on the water tower. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye, motion carries. All right. And Mike, you're welcome to keep those as long as you like. I just have to put them in
Well,
the stack for you,
yeah.
but you can continue looking at them.
I just see things there. Why the city has a quarter of a building on their land and the rest of it on counties.
All right, we have almost everything taken care of. Brandon, do you have anything to add? We have 10 minutes before our next appointment. Are you just here to listen?
I was just here to listen.
All right.
The sheriff's supposed to be at Corner Basic, but I think he's at, he's home sick, so
Oh, no.
came down with something. He was supposed to be up there teaching this week.
Oh, that's not good. There's been something going around. All right, well, until Ron gets here, I think we're in a holding pattern unless there's anything else for the good of the order. Franklin, do you have anything?
No.
All right, anything from you guys? All right, I think what we'll do instead of just sitting here is I'll go ahead and recess for 10 minutes, so we'll just sit recessed. It is, yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, that's 100%, the spelling's right too, which a lot of people don't get.